Hi, I'm Pete Lockett. Welcome to my iDrum Tabla course, mini Tabla course. These are the North Indian Tabla. I'm just going to play a little bit so you can hear what they sound like. The music in North India is one of the most rich rhythmic musics of the world, and these drums, the tabla, are one of the cornerstone instruments out of that whole repertoire. In this mini course of lessons, we're going to be looking mainly at the playing positions, playing strokes, and the way that the sounds on the drums are made, rather than specifically looking at the intricacies of the music system itself. So really kind of a way to get started with the sounds and strokes on the instrument. Just first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the drums. We have two drums, a bass drum and a treble drum. Now these are called Baya and Dina, which actually means left and right in Hindi. Even if you play them the other way round, they would still be called Baya and Dina. Sometimes this drum is also called the duggy, and sometimes the smaller drum is also called the tabla. Now the structure of the drums is pretty amazing, really. We can see underneath here that we have a ring around the bottom of the drum, and from that, this piece of animal gut, it's one continuous piece of animal gut, is sewn around through the head, back through the ring, through the head, through the ring, creating this sort of webbing, effect, holding the drum head in position. Now, it's a very complicated job making the head. The heads are usually made on the drum, and then the strapping is strapped in, and then after that the wooden tuning pegs are put in. We're going to be talking about tuning in a later lesson. The heads themselves are very interesting in construction. Here we have a tabla head from a larger drum, actually. We can see that there's, on the top we have this rim here. Then we have the main skin with the black spot, which I'm going to talk about in a little while. Now inside there's another layer of skin as well. We can see clearly here inside. So it's a pretty complex construction of head. As I say, it's made on the drum, and then when it's actually on the drum, this section is cut out with a Stanley knife, and then the black spot is applied. Now, the black spot is actually made from flour and iron filings, and is the better quality, the more rings it has. If we look at this drum here, we can see that there are a lot more rings, and these are created by different bits of the dough that are made and rubbed on with a stone, and then the head is constructed and then it's tuned. Basically, it's a resonating device. There are numerous resonating devices that you find on Indian drums. This type, which is dry and permanent. On some Indian drums, they'll make a dough from semolina and apply it for performance. On other Indian drums, there's an oily masala type mixture that's applied to the inside of the bass drum head, the bass of a double-ended folk drum, for example, and then the resonant sounds of the drum are sort of lowered, and the tuning is made more relevant to the music that they're playing. Now, the heads are very complicated in the way that they're made on the drum. The animal gut is sewn round, and then the strapping is put through, and it's then tuned with a tabla hammer. And again, I say we'll begin to talk about that a little bit later. The bass drum is similar in construction. It also has the ring on the bottom. Obviously, this needs to be tuned a lot lower, so we don't need to be worrying quite so much about having all the pegs to tune it up really, really high. Sometimes some drums have these smaller pegs that we can see here to just raise the pitch very slightly. We can also see that the black spot is not in the center of the bass drum, and that's mainly because of the glissando and the hand movement that that one uses whilst playing the instrument. The drums always come in a pair. Traditionally, back in the very old days, it's said that the drums were derived from a drum called the pakawaj, which is a double-ended Indian drum, similar head structure, and it's played in this way. The story is that it was cut in half and tabla was created. Normally this drum is tuned to the tonic note of whatever piece of music is being played. Now, the playing position is very important with these drums. The angle of the heads, where they are in relationship to your body. So if you look head on, I'm sitting pretty central to the drums, and the playing position is kind of like a bit like a scorpion, if you like. What you're not doing is lifting this arm up, or lifting this elbow out, or any funny things. It's kind of a natural sort of position to get playing the drums. This becomes a little bit tricky once we start to learn the strokes and we start to develop different techniques on the drum. But it's one very, very important thing that one focuses is on the playing position. So try and when you're working through yourself, trying to get the techniques and strokes down, really continue to focus on how you're sitting with the drums. Now, another important aspect of this is the angle of the drums. So some people will start playing and they'll have them like both in front of them like this, and obviously you can't really get to a good angle like this, bearing in mind your arms are coming down. So normally the treble drum is angled slightly away from you, as is the bass drum, but not by such a huge angle. Now, this is a very important aspect as well, is that when one's sitting on the floor cross-legged, the bass drum tends to move when you're playing because of the weight of the arm on the drum, and that is controlled by this part of your leg. We can see, by the way, they're sitting in the traditional rings. So the leg helps to control stop the drum moving, and also during performance, players will often be, you'll see players moving the drum in this fashion. So we're quite close to the drums, and now we're going to start looking at the first basic strokes on the instrument. Now, the Indian rhythmic system has a detailed set of phonetics and syllables with it. These are called bols, B-O-L-S, which comes from the Hindi word bolo, which basically means to speak. So if we look at our, first of all, look at our playing position, we're going to begin by looking at the bass tabla, the baya, and we're going to be looking at a stroke called ge. And this is created by, if you imagine you cup your hand around, say for example, a snooker ball or a tennis ball, and you just gently rest the wrist on the drum around this portion, so your fingers will be striking in here. Now, one thing I will add to this is that if you notice the black spot on this drum, I've got that position nearest to the small drum. Now that is the way they play the drums in Calcutta. Other districts in India have the spot furthest away from them, and different positions. But for this style, which is Calcutta Farrukhabad style of tabla playing, the black spot is nearest the small drum. So we're going to be striking in this area here, and another one of the cornerstones of Indian percussion technique is the way they divide their hands. So we have two striking units with each hand. We'll look at the right hand in a minute. To begin with the left hand, we have the three-fingered striking unit, and we have the one-fingered striking unit. And these will be striking the drum in our cupped position. So we're going to have 3, 1, 3, 1. Just a nice open tone. If there's too much weight on the drum, you won't be getting any resonance. What we're looking for to begin with is a nice resonant open sound, and we're not going to be looking into any glissando or pushed or pulled notes until much later on. So we want a good, clear, open tone. 3, 1, 3, 1. So, as I say, this is called ge. The next sound is on the treble tabla, the dyna, and D-Y-N-H-A, not as in American diner, of course. So we've got our hands divided into the 3-in-1 striking units again. And what we're going to do is we're going to strike on the black spot, which is called the gab, G-A-B. And we're going to have a very staccato note. 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Now, as I say, this sound is called te. It brings one thing to light, and that is sometimes you'll hear like a little kind of like sticky sound of your fingers coming off the drum. Now, what tabla players use is, this is the Johnston's advert now, Johnston's baby powder. I prefer Johnston's myself, but you can choose whichever brand of talcum powder you prefer. What you need to do is just take a little bit of powder and apply it to your hands and the drums, and then you get rid of that sound. It's important not to use too much talcum powder because then it kind of sticks to the drum and ruins the resonance of the drum. So using these two sounds, we're going to look at the first line of example 1 of our exercise. Ge, ge, te, te. Ge, ge, te, te. Left, left, right, right. Left, left, right, right. Ge, ge, te, te. Ge, ge, te, te. Ge, ge, te, te. Ge, ge, te, te. 3, 1, 3, 1. 3, 1, 3, 1. You can see the fingering is the same for each hand. 3, 1, 3, 1. So now we're going to add a new sound, and this sound is on the bass tabla also, and this sound is called ke, and is the non-resonant stroke on this drum, and is played, the wrist stays in the same position, and it's just a flat muted stroke. Now you can spread the fingers out or play all 4 fingers together. So the choice is yours, whichever is most comfortable. It's very important to be relaxed, so you're not like really trying to play hard or overplay the note. So the next part of the exercise, exercise 1 that we'll look at, is line 3 of exercise 1. Ke, ke, te, te. Ke, ke, te, te. With the te stroke, it's very important that when you strike with the 3-fingered te, this finger is in the middle of the black spot. And when you strike with the 1-fingered te, this finger is in the middle of the black spot. Also, notice how far into the drum I am. If I'm playing back here, it's a very different sound. If I'm too far forward, it's a different sound. We're looking for the staccato sounds. This sound actually is very, very poignant with tabla playing, especially with a lot of the fast rolling. A lot of the work is done on the black spot, which is why you get that staccato, sort of very defined 30-second rolling. So, ke, ke, te, te. Ke, ke, te, te. Ke, ke, te, te. So now we're going to look at the whole exercise that we've got so far example by example. Now this type of composition is called a qaida. And basically, a qaida is a theme and variation composition, and is really important when you're learning the tabla. You learn lots of different qaidas, and we'll be looking at some in the course of these lessons. And each qaida composition will look at different problems and different stroke combinations and different ways to develop your technique on the instrument. So we've only got our basic strokes, ge-ge-te-te, ke-ke-te-te, and pretty much they are the only strokes that can be used in a qaida composition. There are lots of other different styles of composition, such as a laggy composition, which is a folk style theme and variation composition. There's a rela composition. Rela is kind of a Hindi for rail, which means a very fast rolling drum roll type composition. There are lots of fixed compositions that are like little paragraphs of rhythm, lots of intricate little rhythm things. And there are numerous different compositions within the tabla solo repertoire. These are aside from the basic grooves that one would play, which are called tals in North Indian music. And you have various tals and time cycles that one would play that are separate from these different styles of solo composition. So we're going to look at example 1, just using those strokes and what we've learnt so far. Ge, ge, te, te, ge, ge, te, te, ge, ge, te, te, ge, ge, te, te, ke, ke, te, te, ke, ke, te, te, ge, ge, te, te, ge, ge, te, te. So we're looking for just a very clear, open tone with the bass tabla, and we're not looking for any glissando techniques that you would hear within a lot of Indian rhythms that one is familiar with. These will be developed later. Also, in reference to that, it's another reason that the powder is so important. Besides the not sticking to the drums, the glissando and the movement of the drums is obviously aided with the talcum powder. So we're now going to look at example 2, which is variation 1 of the theme. Ge, ge, te, 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 ge, ge, te, te, ge, ge, te, te, ke, ke, te, 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 ge, ge, te, te, ge, ge, te, te, ge, ge, te, 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 ge, ge, te, te, ge, ge, te, te, ke, ke, te, 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 ge, ge, te, te, ge, ge, te, te. Don't worry to begin with about going too fast with these compositions. It's very important to get clarity at a slow speed, even if it's this type of tempo. Real clarity and precision with the strokes, and the speed will easily come later. We'll now look at variation 2. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, te. Ke, ke, te, 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 te. Ke, ke, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, te. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, te. Ke, ke, te, 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 te. Ke, ke, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, te. So now we'll go on to the final example. Now, the example that we've just looked at was 3, 3, 2, adding up to 8. So one of the simple methods that Indian rhythm composers will use is just to rearrange those. So 3, 2, 3. So ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, te. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, te. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ke, ke, te, 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 te. Ke, ke, te, te. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ge, ge, te, te. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. Ke, ke, te, 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 te. Ke, ke, te, te. Ge, ge, te, 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 te. So that's it for this time. Next time we're going to add some new strokes and develop some different Qaida themes and begin to construct some ways of getting further into the instrument. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Do pop by my website, petelockett.com, and I'll see you next time.